Greetings to all of you, and I welcome you to this very, very important and necessary platform where we speak to the people's perspectives. I'm smiling because I know that it's been a while since I've interacted with you, and I'm quite familiar with the fact that individuals are wondering about where I was and what I was doing and how much has been happening in my life. I am overjoyed to know that I do not function based on the whims and fancies of others. I do not function by merely responding to what people say, but rather always I give careful thoughts to what I do, why I do it. And the people's perspective really coincides with the core of my existence, which is people move the nation. People possess the power, and people must be empowered to act. As you join this broadcast, please indicate to me whether you hear me clearly and also see me clearly. I would greatly appreciate that because it helps in terms of uh, quality control and so on. Now, if you are on YouTube, even on Facebook, you can cast this to your smart TV, your big screen televisions and projectors and so on, and you'll be able to see the comments because I've tagged them to the screen. Why the people's perspectives? Why do we have this platform? Thank you for the feedback. Why do we have this forum where Guyanese and those from other nations will have an opportunity to speak to matters of interest and these critical situations? This is necessary because we are saddled with a situation in Guyana that is historic for the wrong reasons. If Guyana has gotten better, and if Guyana had been functioning in a manner that speaks to seriously good governance, then there would not be any need for the people's perspectives. But this podcast, on which you're going to see me interact with various individuals, and please be aware that this people's perspectives is geared towards encouraging my brothers and sisters, my enemies and my friends, to regain the control of your nation. Newsflash, it's never personal. And so, though at this moment I would mention names of individuals, it is never personal. Now, if you choose to take it personally, then don't lay that to my charge. Because when it comes to governance of our country, when it comes to matters of national interest in Guyana, it is never personal for me. It is patriotic. I have a responsibility to do what I'm doing. I have taken months to observe the course on which this country is headed. And I realize that it requires us, the Guyanese people. We are the ones, regardless of whether you for Guyana movement, the People's Movement, which is a part of Fort Guyana movement, and Fort Guyana is a part of Fort Guyana movement. We've merged. Whether you PPP, APNU, PNC, whatever it is, win. We should realize by now that the course on which our country is headed doesn't benefit all of us. We should recognize that unless we arrest this situation, the catastrophe would not just rest on our shoulders, but on that or those of future generations. I'm aware that this platform, this podcast, will be intensely monitored by those at the cybercrime department at Eve Leary. And to you police officers, I say hello. I always tell you hello. I always greet you because for me, you have your job to do if you paid whatever sum of money per month to sit and watch somebody say the things I do. Hopefully it will inspire you to get up and act yourselves. Because you have sworn as officers to enforce lawful orders, not PPP's orders, not APNU's orders, not Air Finale's orders, not Clifton Hickens' orders, not Anil's orders. You have a commitment and an obligation to only uphold that which is lawful, not to harass anybody, not to be puppets of a criminal clan. Guess I've started already. This is just my introducing the people's perspectives. You may ask how often we shall meet. 7 p.m. Just stay tuned. At 7 o'clock on Wednesday, at 7 o'clock on Monday after the long weekend, Mondays and Wednesdays, we shall be sitting here to engage in matters of national interest and your community's interest. And there's so many things that we have to speak about. I'm also aware, let me say, that the PPP, through their pedophile who was deported and is now a minister, he has to ensure that the trolls he pays are present to do their job. I hope that you don't leave here wounded. But let's speak to this. Disgraceful Duran and disingenuous Dwight. Brothers and sisters, this launching of this podcast, the people's perspectives. I wish I could have launched this with celebrations and fanfare. But I'm in Region 10, and this launch this evening is one that I find to be critical to setting the tone for every other broadcast potential and every other podcast. My general nature is to teach people. My general nature is to educate, in some cases to re-educate, to inform, because you have seen consistently in Guyana where those many who are elected, and more often than not in this country, people are selected to lead because our elections do not foster choosing individually who goes to the House of Assembly for you. There's a slate. And from that slate, when people vote, then depending on the number of seats you have, somebody selects who goes into the House of Assembly and who serves in various capacities. Even at the regional level, it happens. Now, we have had what is called in this country the general and regional elections. I want to begin with this. And this broadcast and this podcast is geared towards people who have sense, those who are not intellectual dwarfs. In September of 2025, Guyana entered and experienced what is called the general and regional elections. The parties contesting, the movements involved in these elections had to field candidates. Those candidates were potentially going to serve either at the national level or the regional level. And I know that Deron Adams would watch this, and I hope that he does. And there's no, as I said, bro, this is not personal between me and you. You and I could meet tomorrow. And that's why I credit Deron with that. We could meet to talk and trash this out to move forward, you correct yourself when you move forward. But because of the importance of Region 10 to me and to others and the national landscape, we can't allow you, Deron, to escape with this disgraceful behavior because you know better. In Region 10, and I would that you would share this broadcast, please. Share it as widely as possible. Share the platform, share the broadcast as widely as you can. Invite those who need to be here, like Priya and Priya Manikchan. I know she watches too. You come and watch Priya because you know better. Give Tashira, you should be in jail for what you said. But you said it in House Assembly so you could escape. You tried to present on a national platform in the House of Assembly the impression that you don't know exactly what's supposed to happen in reference to regional elections or the aftermath of it or what follows it. But I'll tell Guyanese the truth tonight then. Let's talk about the truth tonight here. Shondell Jerick, amongst others, were chosen as candidates, what are called regional candidates, according to the Guyana Elections Commission, which is guided by the Representation of People Act. That constitutionally empowered system spoke very clearly as to what happens in a regional election and what happens in the general elections. It also speaks to what happens once the elections results are published or are ascertained. What is frightening to me in Guyana is that it seems as if many of the individuals who are now or were selected or elected are wearing robes of cowardice. They're afraid for some odd reason to stand and represent people the way they should. Now, this will explain to you here on the People's Perspective why I was silent for so long. Because I actually had to take months to convince myself that I actually need to say something. It might sound strange to you. I had to take months to observe carefully, and I'm happy that I did, who would cross the floor, not in the House of Assembly, but in our region, in our communities, who would behave as if they're PNC, or behave as if they're PPP, or behave as if they're for Guyana movement. And as you observe them carefully, they begin to hop across to where opportunities apparently abound. I observed carefully because I wanted to ensure that when I begin to speak again, nobody could tell me that what I'm saying is untrue and prove it to be so. Deron Adams served in regional administration or in the RDC, in the administrative region of Region 10. He served as the regional chairman. I want you to hear me very carefully. How did that occur? Rennis Morian, his predecessor, was before him. When Granger announced elections in 2020, March, I think it would have been, wherever it was, Deron Adams was put on the regional list as a candidate. This same fellow was put on a list to be a candidate in region number 10, a councillor. Deron Adams knows that once those elections finally, in August, when Granger just disappeared, when that was done, Deron knows. Deron knows that a meeting was held by the clerk of the council, who's called the regional executive officer, under Dharam Lal, who would have been the ministry responsible for local government at that time. And Deron knows that he was elected then because he was, first of all, a councillor. Now, how could anybody in the right mind tell me, or attempt to convince me, especially you, Deron, that you have now a new idea and a new form of operating beyond the ambit of what is considered to be lawful practices in this country, where you know that as long or as soon as a finale announced that there'd be an election, and then when the elections would have been had on September 5th, you know that at that time, new councillors, if you're not on the candidates on the councillors list, would have been elected. You know that. Now, since you're here, y'all who are here, let me present you with certain facts, what I call irrefutable facts. And let's see which one Deron is going to challenge. We're speaking to the Local Democratic Organs Act. I'm not here to talk foolishness and waste time with people. The people's perspectives, we deal with it as truthfully as it gets. Though it may be uncomfortable for many, it will be truthful. This country has got what is called a Local Democratic Organs Act. Chapter 2809. You see it right here? You see it on the screen here? Okay, fine. What does that act state? What happens after an election? I want you all to see this, because Deron, you had better retract, and I'm also going to speak to AGPTV, Travis. We cool, but you all need to pull this back, what happened here. This should never happen again. Never again should I see this here. What I'm about to present to people. Look at this. From the act, okay? Let me read from the act for you. At the first, this is after the elections are held now, results have been declared. At the first meeting of a council, this is where Mr. Dwight John, who's the clerk of the council in Region 10, disingenuous Dwight, at the first meeting, the councillors shall elect from among their number. Now, I put a line above and below their number, not from who was there before. The councillors shall elect from among their number a chairman and a vice chairman. Do you see that? Is that on your screen? I'll leave it there and ask you a question. I know this is delay, but you'll answer me as you go along. Now, if the act which guides states that in order for Region 10 and any other region to have a regional chairman, this person must come from among the councillors who elected or selected once election results are read after the regional and general and regional elections. Once the general and regional elections are over, then the clerk of the council, who's Dwight John in this case, would call the councillors to a meeting. The councillors would have to swear to serve. Every councillor is given that the oath, which they would read, and they would swear on a Bible and a Quran and Bhagavad Gita, whatever, they swear, I will do this. Then the clerk says, we will now elect from among you who would have just sworn to function as councillors, we're going to elect the chairman. All right. Guyanese brothers and sisters, and those of you in any part of the world, I'm asking you a question tonight. Was Duran Adams in that room at the Watuka Guest House when in November, I think it would have been, Dwight John convened a meeting and he saw in Sandra Jerick, Mark Goring, Dominic Blair, because Dominic was not a councillor in the RDC. I'm asking you a question. Was Duran Adams in that room at the Watuka Guest House when this batch of councillors were sworn in? You can type your answer. Because the law of Guyana, the Local Democratic Organs Act, is pellucid. It is absolutely clear. Because it tells people with common sense, unlike those who apparently want to behave as if they don't have it, it tells you very plainly that the councillors will choose from among their number. So if you have 18 councillors, from among the 18 councillors in Regional Democratic Council number 10, from among the 18 in that room, that's where the chairman comes from. So we had Mark Goring and Dominic Blair. The tie, the infamous nonsense. We all want to throw stuff at FGM and all that. Okay, fine. Now, what did we have? Did anybody vote for Duran Adams? Who voted for Duran Adams to be regional chairman? Along with, because that had been Mark Goring, Dominic Blair, and Duran Adams. I didn't see anybody nominate him because he was not a councillor. When I asked if he's was he numbered among the 18 councillors? That's what I'm asking you. Was Duran Adams one of the 18 councillors who were sworn in by Dwight John? The answer is no. Obviously not. Okay. So if he was not, then let Duran explain this to all of us. And as I said, Travis, AGPTV, I don't understand how you would do this. I cannot fathom how you would do this. This is where you had the Republic celebration here, Republic anniversary in Region 10. Now we have no regional chairman. We have no regional chairman, which means now that Dwight John and others have to find somebody, as is customary, to receive the salute and to find someone to speak. Now, I want you to explain to me what is happening in Region 10. Look.
In his address marking Guyana's Republic anniversary, Regional Chairman for Region 10, Duran Adams, emphasized the importance of self-determination, local governance, and collaboration in achieving sustainable development. He also highlighted the need for improved infrastructure, greater investment in youth and agriculture, and more inclusive governance to ensure meaningful progress.
So I encourage the spirit of collaboration and collective effort to make this community even more resilient as we work together to secure development inputs that are relevant to the realities of life here in our region.
Okay. The Adams stood to receive the march pass, because that may be from 10, 50 years ago. But that same person you see just standing to talk stood to receive, or stood when people were marching to raise the flag. Duran stood on a platform as the regional chairman of region number 10. Well, if you stood there as the regional chairman of region number 10, it has to be that this act here, the Local Democratic Organs Act, has been repealed. It is no longer applicable. It is now non-existent, because the act states that once elections are over, at the first meeting of the council, the councillor shall elect from among their number, which is among the 18 of them in that room, the councillors will elect a chairman and a vice chairman. Now, if you, the run, go at March Pass and to stand there as the regional chairman, and now then Mashamani came and you stood there as the regional chairman, we need to understand in Linden and in Region 10 what is happening to us as a people. And if you don't understand what's happening to you as a people, then people can do anything to you, because you don't even understand your rights and what you ought to stand and fight for. Let me present you all with the reality. If Duran Adams is regional chairman, then Mark Goring is vice chairman. Let's make it simple. If Duran wants to suggest to me in Region 10 that he could function while the 18 councillors already sworn in now, and he could be the 19th, then Goring has to be the vice chairman, if that's what you want to do. If that's a foolish game you want to play, let's play that game then. Because what's happening to you in Region 10 is that Dwight John from the PPP and Duran Adams from whichever P he is, because I don't know what he is now, they have decided that they'll function in this region in a manner that is disingenuous and disgraceful. But beyond that, it is unlawful. Now, Priya, you're prepared in the capacity of local government minister. You're prepared to sit back and watch this nonsense happen? Okay, fine. You can't force Dwight John. You can make Dwight John decide that he is going to have the responsible attitude to say, okay, then fine. Councillors returned, there was a tie, you'll vote again. You don't want to do that. Well, here what happened, Priya. Put Goring back as vice chairman then. Let everybody just run wild. Let's forget about law and order. What are we doing? I'm telling you, Duran and I are cool, and this may be strange to some of y'all. I could talk to anybody, because to me it's never personal. But this here, Duran, you know this is 10 times wrong. You know this is absolutely crazy what you're doing. And I want you to tell me, what would make Dwight John so comfortable with you to say you must come, essentially, if he doesn't say it, he did it, and function as this chairman? Because here what happened. For lands to be released to people in Region 10, leased land and so on, you don't know, but I tell you now, the regional chairman has to sign off. If we don't have regional chairman, who's signing off on the lands for leases and so on? Am I to believe that you, Duran, still want to fix your signature to documents that only the regional chairman should sign? Let's go deeper then. Am I to believe that when we had Mashramani celebration, Dwight found you from somewhere, and there you are on the road and on the stage. Now, if this thing is unfolding the way it's unfolding before our eyes, there is a finance committee. There'll be the works committee. But let's go to the finance committee. From among the 18 new councillors who were sworn in, they were supposed to form committees to function. A health committee. But let's talk about the finance committee. Because Durwan had a finance committee working under his leadership when he was chairman. Now, once elections were had, Norris and all them they're no longer councillors out. You have a new batch of councillors come in. So for the money for MASH to be spent, you have to have a committee. All right. Now, if you don't have councillors functioning, nobody was nominated to any committee. Nobody was selected to function or chair any committee. So money was spent for MASH. Who signed for it? Now, you may want to tell me that the money came from Georgetown. If the money came from Central, it means the money went straight into Dwight John's under Dwight John's control. And that is even more troubling. Because it tells me then that you, Daron, who is presented as the regional chairman, have no finance committee. So how are you regional chairman and you can't report to anybody about what was spent for Mashramani? As long as there's a chairman, there has to be committees functioning because money has to be spent. And if money is being spent, there have to be meetings that are held to tell us about the money being spent. Is there something that you wish to say to us, Duran Adams? Because I think you should at this juncture. I'm speaking here from the people's perspective. From the outside, we talking to y'all. We run things. Y'all don't run anything here. We run it. And we're saying to you that in Region 10, and in Guyana in general, you're going to tell us what is happening in our country. Now, would you imagine, and that's another podcast, another topic, that Nicole, the ambassador to this country from the USA, said that she's pleased with Irfan Ali's governance? Nicole Theriot, have you ever, just sit in your office for a minute, because you all follow me too. You watch me too, or whoever in your office who watch me. You sit for 2 seconds in your office, and you find from 19 how long to now, one occasion when this ever happened in this country. Bonham was a dictator, people call him under Bonham, under Chetty, under Hoyt, under Jagan, under Janet, Barrett, Donald, Sam, Granger. And now this one. You tell me, madam, if you're so pleased with how Irfan Ali is running this country, how is it possible for this to be the first time in our nation's history where out of 10 administrative regions, meaning admin, how the region is governed, 9 got regional chairman and 1, none. And you got a problem with that. You are absolutely fine with this nonsense. I don't need any visa from anybody. Because nobody's after me. If I didn't start with anybody. Nobody bomb no ship, bomb no school, bomb no mosque. So I don't have a problem with anybody. I don't need to go anywhere. So don't dangle anything over anybody here. I talk to y'all straight. You are being disingenuous too. Because you cannot tell me as a Guyanese that you're okay with this nonsense. That we should be okay with this, as a matter of fact. We should be okay. So if I need a plot of land to do my business in Region 10, there's no regional chairman. And then you'll say, yeah, there's one. He named Duran Adams. When I go to Duran, no, boy, I can't sign that because I ain't chairman. So what are you really telling me? You have no... Listen to me. You have absolutely no conscience. If the law is clear that once you have the regional elections, the next thing that happens is that from among the number of councillors, there will be a chairman chosen. If there's a tie, there'll be a second round of voting. If there's still a tie, then you toss a coin. That is written. I am asking you to explain to me, how was money spent from Ashramani without there being a finance committee? And if it were sent from central ministry, somebody has to account for it. And Dwight John cannot account to himself. He has to give an account to the finance committee. There's no such committee existing. There are works ongoing in Region 10. And as you come here to talk about infrastructure, there is no works committee functioning in Region 10 at the regional level. So nobody can scrutinize anything in Region 10. I hope you all get this. Within Region 10 is a town called Linden. A town. Outside of this town, no councillor from the town council could go and function as a work committee member in any other part of this region, because you are a councillor in the municipality. We have 0 members of a work committee, but works are ongoing. People are spending money, and nobody's giving an account. I am here to ask a very critical question. For the first time, I want to read what somebody's saying, because I want to speak to that very clearly. Jocelyn saying, until a new chairman is elected, the old chairman remains in office. We have moved from Democratic Council to the Dictatorship Council. I'm amazed that Deron Adams is quite comfortable sitting as chairman after national regional elections. Maybe, just maybe, Mark Goring is the Jonah. Every time he is to be elected or sworn into office, there's a problem. The laws of Guyana need to be followed. Elected officials need to be allowed to function. So let me speak to what Jocelyn Morin is saying. Once Dwight John would have summoned the councillors who were elected to be sworn in, it is never automatic that the chairman remains. That remaining that people keep talking about here is about potentially just handing over. And that shouldn't be done by him alone either, as far as I'm concerned, because that's why you have an executive officer. So once we get to election mode and elections are had, the chairman should hand over all the necessary keys and everything else, documents should be handed over to the executive officer. The chairman and the vice chairman vacate out, because the act is clear. Let me put it up again for y'all. The Local Democratic Organs Act, Chapter 2809, it is written, at the first meeting of a council, The councillors shall elect from among their number a chairman and a vice chairman. Now, if the first meeting requires this, how the run remains? Okay, say he remains until a chairman is elected. Really? So we have 19 councillors because the chairman is automatically a councillor. Well, I'm saying to you all that if the run remains, Goring has to remain. We can dance around this here. The reason why you have a vice chairman is that when the chairman can't function, the vice steps in. So if Deron is chairman, then Goring has to be there. We're not going to half step. It is a reckless assumption to suggest that the chairman just sits there for, so okay, say for the next 4 years, no chairman is elected, Deron just sits there and functions as chairman. So what happened to Goring? Is he not vice chairman? Because both posts are vacated. And both replacements come from among the 18 councillors who are now in the room. What I find interesting is this. For the first time in Region 10's administrative history, something called win appeared in a political party. And they won in reference to the regional democratic organ, the representation therein. Listen, I need to figure out something here. People elected in Region 10 win 9 councillors. I need to understand clearly what is WIN's agenda for Region 10. Azrin Mohammed, it is under, I want to be very clear with you tonight, and it's never personal. You're paid to function as the official leader of the opposition, not as the leader of the opposition. Constitutionally, you are empowered to function as the official leader of the opposition. Tell me why, Azudin. Why is it that under your leadership, the worst has begun to happen in this country? Number one, for the first time, there's a region without a chairman. Because I want all y'all who talking here to realize something, that a document was produced, I think, from Parliament or DPI, and it listed the regional chairman for Region 1, that's the name. Region 2, that's the name. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 9 named regional chairmen. Those of you saying who should remain, let me ask you a question. When it came to Region 10, guess what they have? Blank. Why didn't they put Darren Adams? Since you say he's supposed to remain, I'm asking you to explain to me. If it goes like that, how is it possible for Region 10 in an official document to have no name as a chairman? It should be Darren Adams. Because he remains until somebody goes there. This is an official document in the hands of members of Parliament. And there is no name for Region 10. Well, I want you to tell me, Daron, and you need to tell us if you're getting paid. Because your salary, I think, is $330,000 per month. If you're still chairman, then they have to pay you. We need to know if you're still being paid. Do you still have access to the regional vehicle, the chairman's vehicle? Do you still ride around in the chairman's vehicle? Do you still live in the region house? Do you have access to these things? Do you actually, Duran Adams, have access to the office of the chairman? Well, when you're finishing all that, I want you all to tell me, please, why is it that in a document produced by the PPP, Region 10 has no chairman? I want you to explain that to me. Because this is the people's perspective. So make it sensible to us. Listen to me, man. I am saying to us as Region 10 people, I want you all to support me in this, please, because I'm out to fight now. We need to petition, to sign petitions demanding that in Parliament, Azri Mohammed and you all deal with this. We ain't playing with y'all anymore. Because you, for the first time, under your watch, the worst is happening. And I'll tell you what I mean. For the first time in our history, Azrin, under you. And this is happening for a reason. There's no chairman in Region 10. None. Under you, Irfanari, under you, Azudin, there's a local Democratic Organs Act governing how people ought to behave, how we're governed. And under you, listen to this.
Yes, I'm interested in seeing a People's Progressive Party civic-led city council. I'm interested in seeing strong government, strong leadership at the city hall. So don't guess what I'm saying. Don't guess what I'm saying. My intentions are clear, and the intentions of the PP Civic is clear as ever. We want the chance to run this city because the city deserves better than what it has today, and it is time the people rise up and give the People's Progressive Party Civic that opportunity to lead the city and to continue to lead the city in progress, prosperity, and to deliver good governance for the people of Georgetown.
Azudin, please tell me when you've ever heard, ever, a president of a country, of this country here, stand and boldly state that they're taking streets away from under the control of the council, of the city council. And the reason is because they want to control the council. This is happening under your watch, not mine. This is happening under your watch. We have to go. Listen, even if you don't want to go out and protest, sign your name on a petition, put your ID number, and let's take this to those who have to get it, to say, listen, we're not taking this anymore. Because I'm telling you all, Tom, you don't know how important it is until you need it. The chairman of the region is supposed to sign off on, I'm telling you something important as land that you want to farm or work on. The chairman has to sign. For Region 10, not Linden. All. If you have no chairman, who's signing? And if you have no committee to scrutinize what is happening, who's holding this person accountable? Azudin Mohammed, Region 10 voted for you. This is not personal. I'm saying to you that you have to do something, not you should. You have to do something. And so here's what's going to happen. We're not going to stand and rain while it's raining on and no. We're going to go about this a legal route where we're going to sign a petition telling Manzano David that in the House Assembly, you all need to talk about this. Because there is no way that you can have a local Democratic Organs Act and Priya and Dwight John behave as if it doesn't exist. Further to that, it was plainly stated that you'll approach the court because it makes sense. But I could tell you, remember I said, I began by speaking to, on another broadcast, the state of our judiciary. The state of the judiciary. You're seeing the picture now, Azudin. will approach the court. What will the court say? Let me make this clear to you all. If Doran Adams sees that Dwight John has refused to do the most basic thing, which is to have a second round of voting, Doran should walk out of that office in protest and join his fellow Londoners and Region 10 members to say, listen, you don't do this to our people. You're not going to do this to Region 10, because Doran was one of the most passionate when it came to exposing tactfully, skillfully, with evidence, the wickedness of the PPP regime. Now you can't talk. How does it become normal, Azudin, for a whole region to not have a chairman from among the 18 councillors elected by people? And you are not raising hell in Region 10? Huh? You are the official leader of the opposition. This is, you have a constitutional duty. You swore in Parliament. You swore for the first time under your leadership, a president refused to talk to the House Assembly. You, Ali, left this country and go to Belize and talk to their parliamentarians and then talk to y'all. This nursery school hopscotch fight going on here has to stop, because you are the official leader of the opposition of this country. And the least that you can do is to show these people in Region 10 that you intend to fight, not backpedal. The court is there to give you the answer. Parliament is where you stand, or the House Assembly is where you stand, and you demand an answer. But like, you can't be like Barrett. I thought you tougher than Barrett, because Barrett had a whole lot of talk with Granger, and he should have been in jail for life when he said, if Ali is not sworn in, then he'll make the country ungovernable. That's treasonous. And right away, he should be charged for treason. My Bencham simply walked the road and tell police don't shoot people, and he was held 5 years in jail. Solitary confinement under the most wicked, wretched creature. And same Barrett could stand on the road in front of Freedom House and say, if Granger is only sworn in, he'll make the country ungovernable. That's treasonous. He's threatening the sanctity of the state and the ease of living of Guyanese people. The enjoyment of life which your constitution says we're supposed to have. He also said, Barrett, that if Granger is sworn in, Afang be sworn in too, so we'll have two presidents. He should have been sentenced to death. Now you, Azadin, I credit you being tougher than Barrett, for sure. And all of this nonsense is happening under your leadership within 1 year. What are you doing? What are you doing? You mean to tell me that I need to wait for another 4 years of this? There has to be action. There has to be action from you. And I'm not saying it because there's some personal issue with me and you. I don't have any. I'm telling you that you need to do something, because this is strategic. The PPP is deliberately showing you that they'll do what they want to make you a failure. because you can't do anything about it. I am seeing in our country, for some odd reason, politicians, members of parliament, who are afraid of handcuffs and are afraid of the bench. And you all don't want to be spending 2 seconds in any police station. So nobody wants to be arrested. But you talk about Martin Luther King. You talk about Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in jail, not 27 minutes on a bench. Talk about UC Guyana, Cherry Jagan, Janet Jagan. You talk about them. But everybody want to be clean clothes. There is enough and more than enough evidence to prove that Dwight John's actions in Region 10 are not only disingenuous, they are unlawful. Because nothing hinders him from calling the councillors, the 18, to have a second round of voting. And what is disgraceful is for Duran Adams to sit there for almost now approaching a year and not deal with this matter. What is even more alarming is that Dominic John is now mayor. Because Sharma got to Parliament, so Dominic is chilling his worship. What is really wrong with y'all? What are you thinking? So you and Goring tied to be chairman. And since Dwight John ain't calling anything and Sharma got to Parliament, you are then fine. I'm a regional chairman. I'm his worship, the mayor. Is that how y'all intend to run this town and this region? Huh? Well, it's simple. All you need to do then, Mr. Dominic, is write, what's his name, Dwight, and say what happened, Doc. I'm mayor, let Goring be chairman then. Or Leola, or whoever, or some of them. Because I'm his worship. Let him be something else. Do that. Do something. But I have watched how you people have systematically and casually just eased yourselves into positions, and no care is shown for the administration of this region. Well, I have care for it. And I'm calling on all Guyanese, all of you, come on for town week. There's a perfect time we got y'all. Please sign that petition. Let them talk in the House Assembly. Aslan got to do his work. All of the members of Parliament, you're going to work because you're going to talk. And Aslan, you need to make it known. Be a man. If y'all don't fix Region 10, nobody coming through this region. That's the things I need to hear y'all saying. If you don't fix Region 10, then none of y'all can come here. Because if Barack Katoba make it ungovernable, you talk too. Why you can't say what he said? Our nation is headed down a path of absolute dictatorship. And none of your hands are clean. If you can tell me you could transition so easily. You could just chill. Dominic, I am now his worship. So what happens if they call another meeting for election of the chairman and the vice chairman? What happens then? Would you be saddled with a tough decision to make? You have a whole region in trouble. And as the mayor of this town, and the regional democratic office is in your town, you are not dealing with this. I am asking Guyanese to sign the petition for this matter to be dealt with at the highest office. Because in the House Assembly, we have what are called legislators. They are the ones who make laws. They make laws. And that's why I always point to them. And I speak to them the way I do. Because they make laws. You see this here? Huh? You see that law right there? The Local Democratic Organs Act? They made it in terms of the structure called the House Assembly and parliamentarians. Y'all make it. You are the legislative arm of this country. You have to govern Guyana, all of y'all 65 of you. And if you make laws, why you can't fight for it to be enacted? Brothers, my brothers and sisters, we on the road. Forward Guyana movement, we going for petition. We are going to ask you. Let me see how many y'all in these nice little offices in London would refuse to sign. I am looking for my brother Conan, Theodore, Israel, whoever y'all are. Come out and sign. Put your name and say, we demand that Azrin and others, Manzur Nadir, this has to be raised in Parliament. Because there's no gray area in the law. You're playing games with people's lives, man. How can you have 18 seats available for councillors? 18. So you'll have a chairman, a vice chairman, and 16 other members of the council. Now we got 19. When GCOM knows that you don't have 19 spaces for councillors in Region 10. So we're now running on a 19-member council when Region 10, according to GCOM's stipulation and Roper's stipulation and the distribution of seats, we have 19 members. Londoners, I'm asking you to sign this petition. Guyanese, I'm asking you all to sign a petition. You all be responsible, man. Because what's going to happen to you is that you're going to find yourself in a position whereby you need something to be done in terms of business with the region that requires the signature of the chairman, and then you discover that you don't have anybody to sign. And your whole land is in trouble. Your lease is in trouble. You don't have it. You won't get it. Money to be spent to repair your roads. You know what these creatures will do? Everything becomes emergency works. Emergency work. So now money, because emergency you have to bid. Everything in Region 10 in terms of public works, emergency. That's what Dwight John will do to y'all. I keep telling you all, jail him for cat and dog. I tell police that to the face. They lock up him for cat and dog. So I know why people are afraid of it. If you want to arrest me for saying what I said tonight, arrest me, because Barrett said he made the country ungovernable. And he should have been in jail. That's a treasonous statement. Worse when he said that he would ensure that if is signing, along with Granger, with sworn in, he should have been sentenced to death because he's threatening now the office of a president. Are y'all hopping and skipping around this place? Azrin Mohammed, I expect you to do something now, not yesterday. Listen to me, your extradition matter, let me help you with this as I leave. You want to see Guyanese stand up with you and fight hardcore? You represent people. Not just go and see this person flood, that person lose a house, this one yard break. No. We have an administrative, legislative issue. In Region 10, we have a problem whereby Dwight John and now Darren Adams together are refusing, based on their conduct, to respect the rule of law. Because I repeat, Darren, you should walk out and tell Dwight John, not here, stop your foolishness. Call the meeting. Let the people choose the chairman. What are you doing? The people's perspective. For us to make progress in this country, we have to unite and fight as one people. One nation, one destiny, one Guyana, one people, one nation, one destiny. Together, we will make this happen. And it begins with your signature and your ID card number. That's all, no photograph, ID number. And let's petition the Mans Nadir to let this be heard in Parliament. Let Tashira stand and officially tell us that Lyndon is okay, and Priya must tell us that this is all right for Region 10. That this is good behavior and this is acceptable. And Azri must stand in the House Assembly and tell us that he's okay with this in Region 10. We have 2 members of Parliament and one idiot making himself a fool all the time, playing around people's lives. No, man. All across Guyana, in Georgetown, wherever you are, these petitions are going to go wherever they have to go. We need action. And Azadin, you need to act. Azadin, you need to act. No more pity boy, playboy, show boy. You need to act. No more video clips. You need to act. Leonards who overseas want to participate. I'm so impressed by this. I'm impressed. So you see, they come home for town week, all black, all yellow, all pink, all sign. That's what you all need to do. We got to by the gate tell you, but y'all, you gotta be serious about this business, man. We have to be focused. And this has been against the people. I'm against bad governance. This is ridiculous. Lyndon is being made a mocking stock. Region 10 is being made a mocking stock. Because you can't have governance of the Democratic Council without councillors functioning. Action. We're going to the road. We're going to get your signatures, ask you to sign them with the understanding that we're not asking you to fight nobody. We're asking anybody. We're asking you to sign so that the parliamentarians who are being paid could do their job. That's what we're asking you to do. Look forward to it. I'm sure that Conan and the highlighters will be talking about this because it's all of us in this situation here. I appreciate your time. There'll be topics, like you just saw me give you a hint, with Irfan standing to say that he wants to see the PPP control Georgetown. So because of that, you would starve the city council of funds, and you're going to take back streets. And again, for the first time in our history, an opposition can do nothing. Well, you do something, because it's time for us to tell them, if you take in streets, then we take in the city. We controlling the city because it's our city. You don't decide to just take up anything. People voted for these people to serve, including some of your PP councillors. They were chosen to serve. Let all them serve. Take back no street for anybody. If you have money to clean the city, clean it. But you owe the council over $100 billion, if I'm not mistaken, or close to $1 billion or whatever dollars it is. And you don't want to pay the people their money. But then you talk about you listen here. I don't play corncore politics. And I don't play popcorn politics. That's why I say I don't talk sometimes. And that's why I'm released to talk now. Hence, the people's perspective, because we're talking again. Our voice is going to be heard again. You're going to hear about the hospitals where people aren't receiving their salaries. You're going to hear about all this. They both, and where Nicole Terrier is saying that she's pleased with Irfan Ali. When you have hospitals where doctors aren't being paid, where doctors got to go to Georgetown and collect some cash in hand as a salary, we talk about that on this platform. We talk about the fact that people who graduate in other regions, they're receiving salaries in terms of nurses. Region 10, nothing for you because you don't have a regional chairman. You don't have a vice chairman. You have no function. You have no health committee to function. So they don't know what's happening in the hospital. Are you playing around? You have no health committee which has responsibility for your regional hospital. I hope you all understand how serious this is in Region 10. With that in mind, I thank you for your time. See you again on Monday evening. Because we knew, maybe I'll do another one Friday. But Monday and Wednesday, we talk about from the people's perspectives. Do well. Do well until I see you again. Thank you so much for your time.